right, I think we're live. We are broadcasting live.
Okay,
All right.
awesome,
Hey,
awesome.
everybody. We've got
Hey.
Sersie and Joshua Black. Joshua, aka Urban Black Vegan, also owner of Flat
Yeah.
Belly Veg. Got your got your apron on, your flat belly veg.
Yes, yes, full
Yes,
representation.
yes. Yeah, you got to
Awesome.
tell us how the food truck is going. I guess we can. There's a lot of stuff to get into, but yeah, we're excited to have you.
Yes, yes, yes. I'll be glad to talk about the food truck, how I found my
Yeah,
way into
yeah.
the food business. Absolutely. Whatever you guys want to know, whatever I can do to inspire and uplift, I'm here for it.
Yeah, awesome. You're much taller, Joshua. I've always seen you sitting down, so you
Yeah,
seem
well,
so
yeah,
tall
I'm actually,
standing up.
yeah, I'm tall. I'm
I
six
know you're.
two,
Yeah,
Six
and
two. Okay.
I'm trying to make sure I stay within the
camera.
camera
So,
here.
yep, yep, yep. Awesome, awesome. All
Oh yeah.
right. So before we jump into the story and hearing your background
Yeah,
and everything, let us know like what are we making today and did you how are you inspired by this recipe? I love the idea that it's raw. You know, sometimes you
yes.
just you feel for that kind of raw food sometimes and it's nice to have those go-tos and it's so simple and fast. So,
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, the
uh-huh.
way I came about this recipe. I do a lot of cooking demonstrations
Yeah.
um, here in Philly and around Philly.
Hmm.
So what I wanted to do was, and the people I usually do cooking demonstrations for are
Hmm.
usually people within. I hate using the word underserved, but people within communities, black communities, usually seniors, people
Yeah.
who have no idea about
Hmm.
plant-based vegan food. They come with these preconceived notions that it's very expensive, it's
Right.
not within reach.
Mm.
Um, no, I don't shop at people who don't shop at Whole Foods or Trader Joe would never even think that they can even afford these places.
Right.
It's not the demographic that these places serve most of the
Hmm.
time. So I wanted to
Yeah.
go in with something that's accessible, with ingredients that are bought within the neighborhood,
Yeah.
within urban
Yeah.
communities, and foods that are you can even get from food banks. I do a lot of
Yeah.
food that we can grab from a food bank. You can go
Yes.
to the dollar store. We can go to the corner store. We can
Hmm.
do it right within our community, and we
Yeah.
can do it. I'm working on my own book called the $5 Vegan, whereas though we can buy
Ah.
foods that are so inexpensive, highly nutritious,
Yes.
and we don't even need to visit a Whole Foods, nor do we need to visit any of these high-end stores that try to tell us that this is where you need to come if you want to eat healthy.
Hmm.
Yes. I love that you said that, Joshua, because at the end of the day, it's just letting people realize. I mean, what we're going to make today, we're talking about some basic ingredients. Like,
Yes,
I think you're right. I think there is this myth sometimes. I think it's kind of changing now, though, where this idea of eating plant-based seems sophisticated and expensive, but really, it's really just your common ingredients. So,
yes, it
yeah, I'm
can be. It can
excited.
be.
Yeah.
Yes, and this
Yes.
happens to be probably one of the most nutritious,
Mm.
most nutrient dense
Hmm.
meals that you can have. That is so versatile that you can get multiple meals out of just this one dish. And this is like
Mm.
my top seller on our food truck. And then
Oh, really?
also
Yeah.
just opened we also opened up another place. Um, we opened up another place, actually more of a brick and mortar, and that
Yeah.
it is also the number one seller there as well. I
Oh,
mean, it
Hmm.
just
wow.
checks
Yeah.
off all boxes. So if you're that vegan who only eats raw, I got
Yeah.
you. If you're
Yeah.
that vegan who like, I don't really do raw so much, but
Yeah.
I got you. You
Yeah.
know, and if you're not vegan and you're vegan curious, and once I
Yes.
tell you that it's a tuna made from carrots,
Mm.
you're going to probably look at me sideways like, okay, tell me more.
Really?
So
Yeah,
it ticks
exactly.
all the
Yeah.
boxes, and it gets people wanting to know more,
Yes.
and at the same time, I'm just feeding them a fiber first. I like to call myself a fiber first vegan. So fiber first meal. I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just the meal.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm excited. Yeah, go ahead, Gigi. You were gonna say something.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, fiber is really the new protein, right? Because
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
ignore fiber. They're just like, what
Yes.
about protein? Forget it.
Yes.
As long as you're eating variety and you're eating enough
Mhm.
calories, you got your protein covered.
Yeah, we
It's
can
all
check that
about the
box.
fiber.
The protein.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But when I do my cooking demonstrations, I tell people it's the fiber that most of you are lacking. So we go in and I go into depth. I say, let's talk about it. The reason why, if you're not going to the bathroom, moving your bowels more than 2 times a day, there's a problem. If you're eating more than 2 times a day, but nothing's coming out, then something's wrong. We got to get more fiber in our diet, get things moving. You'll have more energy. You'll feel so much lighter and so much better. We need to get more fiber. So let's think fiber first.
Yes. That's good. That's really good. All right, so let's get this party started.
Okay, yes, let's get this started. This is only going to take a few minutes. Now, one thing I neglected to send you ladies was the mayo, right? But since you're both seasoned vegans, I know you guys probably have your own recipes for mayo, but for the people, let me talk about it a little bit, because
that's a good place to start.
we don't want to use store-bought mayo at all. I don't care. We don't even want to use the store-bought vegan mayo. That's not good either,
Right.
So I like to. There's a few ways we can go with this mayo. I'm making a cashew-based mayo, right?
Okay.
But there are people who can't do nuts. So we can't do nuts. That's fine. We just want to make sure that we include a fat. The fat of choice for me is cashews. But you can do avocados, no problem. You can't do avocados because you don't like avocados. We can do olives. We can throw some olives in there. Olives contain that fat that's necessary for taste. There's a few different ways that we can go. You can do tofu if you want. You don't do a tofu. So there's alternatives to the alternative. There's alternatives.
I love that. There's alternatives to the alternatives. I love it. Yeah.
But there's a way that we can go. You can use almonds. You can use any type of nut, but we want to make sure we get that fat. That fat is something that's necessary. So we want to add that fat. So I'm going to add cashews. And the great thing about this recipe is that it's so versatile. You can add, subtract as much or as little as you want. But let's get these nuts in here. So a half cup of cashews. Now let's talk about.
Do you soak your cashews first, or you just put? Or you have a high speed, or?
I have a high speed. If you don't, yes, you can definitely soak them. But let's talk about cashews as we go real quick. We definitely want to use raw cashews, raw unsalted, because we want to control the sodium and salt intake at the same time. And also, since they're raw, they're not cooked in oil, so we take out all those hundreds of calories that would usually be in cooked cashews. So unsalted, raw cashews.
Okay.
We'll take a quarter cup of water. Now here's the thing about the water. A half cup of water. Here's the thing about the water. You can use water to make this as thick or as loose as you wish. It's totally up to you guys, to your taste. I usually take 1 clove of garlic, raw garlic. I'll pop that in there. Now this is up to you. And this is why you want to make your own mayo. We can control the amount of salt. You don't have to add any salt, or you can just add a pinch of salt. Now I don't use salt shakers. I like to start always with just a pinch. Of course, I'm using pink Himalayan. All right. Now I just added a pinch of salt. I had some garlic in here, and I'm also going to add some a little bit of apple cider vinegar.
Okay.
Just a little bit. We have that. Now also add a couple pickles. Just a couple pickles. Just add a little pickles.
Yeah.
Because then if we're cooking, if we can hit these notes, if we can hit, if we have acid, if we have some sweet, the cashews will add that sweetness. And then we also add a little, that's it. As long as we have, and some fat. So fat, sweetness, and acid. We want to make sure that that's going to be in our mayo or any kind of sauce. Because this mayo can be a mayo. It can serve as a dip. It can also serve as a salad dressing.
Sweet.
So we'll. Oh, one thing I forgot. We want to add a little bit of herb. So I'm going to add a little bit of cilantro. Okay. You can add basil. You can add dill. Whatever you like.
Okay.
Now, one thing I like to do is I like to use the fresh stuff. We can buy this stuff dry, but when you use the fresh stuff, it also contains all the oils inside of it. So this has all the oil in there. That's why I'm using the fresh garlic clove, because it's oil within that garlic clove.
Nice.
And also, this is a totally oil-free recipe. All right. So we have our mayo or sauce, whatever you want to call it, that is done. Now, the other thing that I usually, when I'm doing these, I do a lot of teaching. Like I said, I do senior centers, recreational centers within the urban community. And so sometimes you ask, oh, I don't have a fancy juicer like you do, Josh.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you know what? I didn't have a fancy juicer either. But if you were to do, everything I'm using, all this equipment, I went on Facebook Marketplace. So I bought my juicer for $30. This is a $30 juicer. This juicer, which is a Breville juicer, $35.
Oh,
the
wow.
goal is to let people know that this is accessible to anybody. Okay? To everybody.
Okay. All right. So you're getting into the juicing of the carrots now.
So your carrots.
Okay.
I have 3 pounds of carrots, 1 bag of carrots. It costs about $2 for this bag of carrots. Okay. I peeled the carrots. I cut off the ends. All right. Now, of course, I suggest that the baby carrots, between the baby carrots and these carrots, to use the full size carrot that you have to peel. Okay. Baby carrots are actually done by a machine that makes them into little baby carrots. There is no such thing as a baby carrot.
For real. Word.
All right. I mean, you ever notice how they're all exactly the same size?
Oh yeah,
they're the exact same size, the exact same shape.
You just messed somebody up right now. But there's no carrots.
Nature doesn't do that.
You just rocked somebody's world, man. Come on,
okay.
Joshua.
So what we're going to do is we're going to juice these carrots. It might get a little loud.
Okay.
Okay.
So Joshua, I think we're gonna try. I think the blender. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because that's what I did before. I used a blender and then I used a nut bag.
That's what we're doing. If we don't have the juicer,
that's fine. You can do that. You can definitely do it that way.
So you just added a little thing and blending it up. So this is an alternative if you don't have the juicer on hand.
Right.
Just an alternative. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, you can do that with the nut bag.
Yeah.
That's fine. That is definitely fine. Yeah. So, okay. So let me say this. So now once you go through your nut bag process, or your blender, whatever you go, once you separate that pulp from the juice, we have this beautiful, don't throw any, this is a complete recipe where we don't throw anything away. We're going to eat everything. But this is gold right here. And in my, on my food truck, we take this, after we make pounds and pounds of the pulp, we then take this, we add a little bit of ginger, we add a little bit of nutmeg, a little allspice, we add a little maple syrup to it, we blend this together, and it tastes like a carrot cake.
Yes.
And we sell that as well.
Nice.
All right. So you can do that. You can put that in the fridge, because by the time you're done, you'll have something to drink with your meal.
We go ahead and squeeze out this juice.
Okay. And now I'm just going to talk about the greatness of these carrots. Now that we separated the juice, the one thing, carrots are sweet. Now that we've separated the juice and the pulp, this pulp right here is almost about 48 to 50% fiber. That's all this fiber is right here. Usually people will throw this away, but this is the main meal.
Okay, everyone. So I'm squeezing this out in that bag here.
While you guys are squeezing everything out in the nut bag, what I'm doing is, from using the juicer, sometimes there are little pieces that don't get totally shredded up here. So I'm going through and taking them out. Now, you can leave these little pieces in here, these little pieces in the juice. You can leave them in. It'll just add a little bit more texture. Now, I've never done it with a blender, so I'm assuming that your pulp might be a little more wet than mine.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, this is why I strongly suggest to invest in a juicer, because it'll pay off in the long run.
Yeah, for sure.
Because this is when I say this is dry, it is totally dry. Like, there is no moisture. There is no moisture in this whatsoever, which is important because you want to make sure we can capture the texture of actual tuna fish.
Right.
Now,
yeah, because the moisture is coming from the mayo, the sauce, right?
Right. And we want, the moisture is coming from the sauce, and you won't need that much. And that's the other point, because we don't, now some people might like their tuna wet. I'm not one that particularly cares for that really wet. So also, because you have to remember, this is super low in calories. This carrot pulp is hardly any calories in it. So your calories are coming from the mayo that you made, either with your avocado or with your nuts, but if you use tofu, that's also another way to keep it low in calories. But the only problem with tofu, not that it's a problem, but tofu, since there's hardly any fat in tofu, you're going to miss that one component that's kind of important, fat, for taste. There's a great documentary that I watched about the power of fat, salt, and I think it's sour or bitter, the effects that it has on food and the way that we receive that, the way it lights our body up in different ways. So it's important to have those components in all that we eat.
Yeah.
if we can, at least some of it.
Yeah. For sure.
All right. And one thing I forgot on the recipe that I usually add to all of my savory dishes and even some of my smoothies is I usually put a little mushroom powder.
Oh yeah,
Or
I did put
mushroom,
that.
some mushroom powder, just a little bit of. At
Does
least,
it matter?
there you go.
Does it matter which kind? I got. You know, we're endurance athletes. We like our quarter steps, right?
Yes, yes. So you want to make sure. I like to add that because mushrooms have MSG in it, and even though a lot of the fast food chains create this MSG in a lab, but we can get it naturally from things like mushrooms. They consider that like I forget what they call that, but it's we can't taste it, but our body recognizes it. It's one reason why Chick-fil-A after chicken MSG is the next ingredient.
Yeah.
Because it's a flavor enhancer, and if we can get that naturally from mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I usually add a little mushroom powder to all my savory dishes. This one will be included with that. Now, at this point, this is why this recipe is really flexible, because you can now add all the stuff that you like. And we're going to add cilantro. We're going to add some cucumber, celery, peppers, onions. And we just chop those ingredients up. Now, for me, when I'm making for myself, I even like to chop up some zucchini and put some zucchini in there. I like to chop up. I'll even throw some I'll throw any kind of veggie I have. I'll just throw it in there, and I like my veg. I like them chunky. I like them big cubes. So it's a lot of texture in my food.
Okay.
But I always tell people, add what you like.
Yeah.
Now, I was never a seafood person, even when I was a regular civilian. But so if you want that ocean flavor, you can always add some.
The seaweed.
You can add some seaweed. You can add kelp. You can add nori. You can add that to this dish to give it that flavor, that ocean flavor. I'm not doing that because I don't particularly like it, but that's one thing that you can do that really pumps up that ocean tuna fish kind of flavor. All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to chop some veggies. I'm going to chop up my.
So I'm adding some celery and I'm adding some onions.
I'm adding celery. I'm chopping up my celery right now.
Okay.
Now you can chop it as fine as you wish, or you can leave some big chunks in there, which is what I like. Now, I did give you ladies a recipe. You can follow that to the T, or just put, if you like more celery, add more celery. You like more cucumbers, add more You can't really mess this up.
Right.
I'm adding some cucumbers now. Peppers. Ladies, if I'm moving too fast, let me know.
No, you're
chopping peppers now.
Okay. When I do these cooking demonstrations, they usually tell me, all right, Josh, you have 45 minutes. So I'm usually zooming by.
Yeah.
Talking at the same time. We're trying to get it done. Because, people want to taste it because they're like, okay, What are carrots going to taste like in this state? All right, now we're chopping up onions. I got a question for you ladies. I prefer, a lot of people when they make the salad, they always using the red onions. I'm using like a regular yellow onion. I love, probably my favorite is the sweet onion. How about you guys?
Yeah.
What do you prefer?
I love the red onion. I'm a red onion person.
Okay.
I love the red onion, so I usually use
I've got
that.
I've got like 4 different kinds of onions in my refrigerator. I've got yellow, I've got white, I've got the sweet yellow, and I've got the red onion.
Okay, they all work.
Yeah.
Even if you want to use green onion, that'll work too.
Yeah, the green onion is actually good too. Actually, when I do this kind of mux, I use the green onion or the red usually.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Where's my dill?
All right, so I also have fresh cilantro. Now, when I chop this, when I do fresh cilantro, I do everything. I'm doing the stems and everything. Even when I make sauces and dips, I do the stems as well because there's so much flavor in the stems.
You know, I have to say, Joshua, I was so happy when your recipe called for pickle juice because my mom lived with us during COVID and she was like on this pickle kick, and I have like all these pickles in my refrigerator, and I'm like, what do I do with this juice to make it?
But I love how you even actually put the pickles inside of the mayo. So that was
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to find my dill.
So I put my cilantro in here, and I chopped up some dill in here. I have my onion in here. And what we're going to do, let's see what happens. Pour a little bit of pickle juice. Have a little bit of garlic powder. I don't have my pepper here, but I would put a little bit of pepper and a little bit of salt. Pinch of salt for salt to taste. But we want to be mindful of the salt. We don't want to get crazy with the salt.
Yeah.
And this is usually when I'm at senior homes. A lot of people are dealing with high blood pressure and issues with diabetes. So we always want to be mindful of the amount of fat that we use and the amount of sodium that we add. That's why we want to control every component of the meal. That's why we make our own mayo. Now, of course, you can go buy mayo, but you're also going to be buying a ton of other ingredients because it's so processed. One of the ingredients you're going to be buying a lot of is sodium.
Yeah.
When you buy processed off-the-shelf stuff. All right, ladies, I am about to pour in my mayo.
Okay.
And like I said, you can make it as dry or as wet as you like. It is totally up to you. And another good thing about when you cook vegan food or especially raw food, at any point you can taste this. You can taste this at any point.
I know there's no raw effect. Yeah.
Anything. So you can taste at any point and add and adjust as needed.
Yep. because there's no raw eggs or any.
There's no
stuff
raw
like
eggs, exactly.
that. Yeah.
That's good. So now that you have your tuna salad done here, I'm going to make what we usually do on the food truck. That's our number one, not number, probably one of our top three sellers. We make a, and this is totally optional as well. So we have a carrot, we have a pretzel bun, which is totally vegan, 100% vegan pretzel bun. You can buy this. A lot of your local grocery stores may have it. But you know, the great thing about this recipe, it doesn't have to be eaten as a sandwich. This is just food truck, what we do on the food truck.
Right.
But if you have friends, vegan curious friends who are transitioning, you still want to eat something that they seem familiar, then put it on a sandwich. So we're going to take some of that same mayo that we use and use it for our bread, for our carrot tuna sandwich. Now, then we're going to take a piece of vegan cheese. Now, when I opened the food truck, I was very much against having vegan cheese, store-bought cheese, because of the fact that it is made with oil, and we're an oil-free food truck. I mean, we don't cook with oil. We don't add oil to anything. But I understand that there are people transitioning to a vegan diet or a plant-based diet. And on the road of transitioning, they may still be eating vegan cheese. So we use vegan cheese on the food truck for that reason, because not everyone is where I'm at. And a lot of people are still transitioning to try to get to a better place. So they still may be eating vegan cheese. But the goal is to even transition off of that. So with that being said, we got the vegan cheese. Now, the other thing that we do is that we use purple cabbage. We don't use iceberg lettuce. We use a purple cabbage. Now, why purple cabbage? Because it has so many antioxidants. It has more antioxidants, 4 times as much antioxidants as iceberg regular green cabbage. And plus, it looks amazing.
Yeah,
It's just pretty. Makes your stuff look pretty. And then what we're going to do is we mix that with some arugula. We add arugula because arugula, once again, a ton of antioxidants. You can't go wrong with arugula. So arugula and red cabbage. All right. Then we're going to take some of this. And I'm going to show everybody. Roma tomato. Cut nice and thin. Use your serrated knife. You want that Roma tomato because Roma tomato has a little toughness to it. It'll take the knife nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's try this. Then we're going to take our onion nice and thin. Just core that onion out so you have these nice onion rings. Put the onion on top of that. Now we got to have a dill pickle on the top of that to add a little bit of acid to it. We take that. We get us a plate. We have this amazing And this is what we usually serve. I don't know if you guys can see this.
Oh, that's
This is what we're serving on the food truck. This is like then we toast a roll. If you want the best, toast a roll. See, in Philly, we're a big pretzel city. Pretzels are really a big deal in Philly. Now, what is yours on? What kind of?
So I put mine on some lettuce leaves.
Yes, we do that too.
I'm making sushi roll. I've added a little bit of brown rice, the tuna, and then I've got some avocado on top, and I'm going to roll it up.
I love it. I love it. And that's why I was saying this is so versatile. And I'm glad that we all did something different.
In the alternative.
I know. I love how we didn't even plan this.
Yes. And I know we didn't even plan it like that, but it just shows how versatile this is. Or you can just make a salad and you can just put this right into a salad. You know, you can do it that way too. There is so many different ways that you can eat this meal. And then not to mention, you also have the juice, right? And we can take that juice, add some ginger, make it like like nice little ginger shots, put a little spicy little cayenne pepper in there, a little maple syrup.
Yes.
Yep. So that's our number one seller. Highly nutritious. You can eat it in various different ways. And this meal shouldn't cost you no more than $10, depending on if you had to buy all the ingredients. But most of the ingredients people have, you have salt and pepper in the house, and green peppers, mostly everyone has at least one. So it's basic, a tomato and onion, really simple.
It is simple. I love that we don't have to turn the stove on,
And you don't have to turn the stove on. It's perfect. It's perfect for the summer. It's perfect for the summer. It's perfect for those who are like, I'm on the go, because you can make this, since there's no preservatives, it'll last for about 4 days, maybe, sometimes 5. And you make a bunch of, like, I made so much out of one bag of carrots. This is all of this from one bag of carrots, so this could last. Perfect for lunch,
Nice. This is delicious.
Joshua, why don't you share your story? Tell us more about
how did you become
your whole story and how you came to this vegan lifestyle.
Oh, sure. Okay, so I've been vegan for 10 years now. So 10 years ago, July 4th, 2011 to be exact, I was watching a documentary called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. At the time, I weighed about 260 pounds. I was diabetic, overweight, clinically obese, sick, just going through it on medication, everything. After watching that documentary, I don't know what happened. The skies opened. I don't know, something magical happened, but I decided to juice for the next 40 days, 35 days. I lost about 20 something pounds. I went from not being able to walk on the treadmill to being able to run. I went from running to jogging to marathons, and on, became a personal trainer, start wanting to share my story with the community, because I couldn't believe I'm off the medication, I'm dropping weight, and I didn't have to, it wasn't prescribed by a doctor to do this. This was just changing what I was putting into my mouth. Just making the decision to change what I actually put inside my mouth. I could not believe it. Not only that, I was saving a ton of money, because at this point, I'm just eating vegetables. I'm not buying cheese steaks anymore. I'm not buying meat. I'm not buying cheese. I'm saving a ton of money. I'm losing a ton of weight, and I have tons of energy, all from making the decision to change what I put in my mouth. So fast forward to now. Along that journey, I decided to do things for the community, start teaching classes, start giving small events, start podcasting, start a YouTube channel, a Facebook channel. It gained more and more popularity. Before you know it, I'm speaking at different events. I'm sharing my story with different folks, inspiring others, helping others personally. And then I said, but what's the next thing to do? How can I touch even more people? Food truck. If I can actually get in front of people and be the example, be the live living example of going from unfit to fit, my personal journey and putting my personal journey on a plate and saying, here you go, this is what I did, I could inspire and touch even more people. So on a daily basis, I find myself talking to people face to face, hand to hand, face to face, inspiring based on my story. I put my story on my website for my food truck, and people actually come to the food truck or come to my other place wanting to engage with me because they're inspired to at least try, to take a step. So it's been very rewarding. It's been challenging. I like to call it the beautiful struggle. It's been challenging, but rewarding at the same time. But I've been able to literally touch people, to look them eye to eye and answer questions that they may have. But they can see that I'm an example of what could be. I've had wives bring their husbands to say, look, he did it. And I'm not a spring chicken. I'm not 20. So I continue to challenge myself with triathlons, marathons, insane fitness routines, just to show people that because of what I eat, I am able to do these things. I have young guys coming asking me, bro, how can you run so long on a treadmill? You know what? I'm not forcing them to do this vegan thing, but you're going to knock on my door, I'm going to answer it. And the answer is, oh, well, I've decided to stop putting any animals in my body. I've decided to take my health seriously. And that starts the conversation. So by being a visual example has made it possible for me to touch lives. And that's now my mission in life is to touch and inspire and hopefully change your life.
So your triathlons, it sounds like you probably wouldn't be doing triathlons if you didn't change what was on the end of your fork. So
right.
The energy level that you got, the weight loss was all from just making that one decision. And that's something I think Sersie and I try to emphasize within our group, because people don't realize like how powerful what you choose to eat affects every area of your life, like every area. And you are another example of that. And I want to talk a little more, just to geek out a little bit on the triathlon and the endurance.
Sure.
I like to do that kind of stuff too. Not the triathlons. I've done a few, as I mentioned before we went live, but tell me more about like your training routine. When you say you train at a high level, kind of walk us through what that looks like. You know, how many days a week, hours per day or minutes per day? What does that look like? Okay.
All right. So right now, okay, this is my training leading up to the triathlon. It's tapered off only because of my intense work schedule. But this is my usually day to day. I usually train for about 2 hours a day, every 2 hours a day with 1 day off. So the training includes wake up in the morning, then I'll run 3 miles to the gym. I don't drive to the gym. I usually run to the gym, or I'll ride my bike 35 miles to the gym. From the gym, I'll then swim. I'll usually swim, and then after the swim, I will hit the treadmill and run some more immediately, one after the other. And that's my every day. And then I'll run back home, either get on the trainer or ride the bike. And then I try to do like what I like to call a long day. Like I'll have a day where I'll do a 25-mile bike ride or a 30-mile bike ride, or I'll do like I'll run a half marathon one day, like a 13.1. I'll just run that and just do 2 different disciplines. So maybe I'll just run and then I'll just swim, or maybe I'll just run and then I'll just hit the weights. But I'm going to make sure that I'm hitting at least 2 different, I like to call them disciplines, either weight training, swimming, or running or biking.
Yeah.
With swimming being my week.
Is that for only in training, or you do this regardless of your training?
Well, I try to do it regardless of the training. It just intensifies. When you're doing the marathons, they call them bricks when you do one right after the other. So say I might run and then immediately after running, I'll ride the bike, and immediately after riding the bike, immediately get off the bike, put on your running shoes, and then you run. I do that immediately. But a regular day is always 3 miles to the gym, and then another workout in the gym for an hour and a half, and then run back home for another 3 miles. So it's at least 6 miles a day. At least when I'm not training right now, about to start, not training right now, but it's usually about 20 miles a week that I run, 25 miles a week.
Wow.
Running.
That's a lot of mileage.
Well, it's only about, when you think about it, it's like 5 or 6 a day.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, about 5 or 6 a day. I'm not the fastest runner, but I'm gonna run. And I don't like to run, but I've been training myself to do what I don't like the most. Whatever is the hardest. I do that.
Yeah.
To me, it's like a mental exercise, because I believe it's I'm not super religious. My wife is very, she's just coming back from Bible study now, but I do believe the part in the Bible that says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So I try to make sure my thinking is geared toward fitness, community, health, and I try to read, try to listen, try to absorb information every day. So my thinking is always being filled with information, because if I'm thinking it all the time, it becomes my normal,
Yeah.
So, and then I have mental exercises that I try to do during the week to reinforce the physical.
Yeah. I know you talk a lot, Joshua, about there's a change that happens literally when we start changing what we eat, but there's a mindset change that has to marry this thing so that it could be sustainable and long term. I know you talk a lot about this idea of changing the mindset as well.
Yeah, and you probably it happens to you guys too. People always ask, what can I do to get started? What should I do? And they sometimes are, I don't know, maybe a little disappointed when they hear the answer from me, which is, well, what I need you to do is a detox. And I'm not talking about a physical one. I said, because your mind is toxic. Your thinking is toxic. Your thinking around food and what's good for you has become toxic. You have been conditioned to believe certain things. And until we can kind of like detox that thinking, you're going to have a hard time just trying to go through the motions because you don't believe it. It's almost as, I've known people who have had the surgery, had bypass surgery and whatnot, and then they gain the weight back because even though they have went through the physical change, mentally they're still at that same place. So until they can change here, it's going to be a struggle. So if we can detox, clean out some of that toxic thinking that you have around food and what is healthy, and put in some stuff that's some truth, it will help you to understand. I won't have to tell you what to eat because you're going to have an understanding now. Oh, you mean all the meat I eat has saturated fat? Well, maybe I don't eat meat, or maybe I should stop. But you have to start to understand that. You mean my cholesterol? My body can create its own cholesterol. I don't have, but I'm adding unnecessary cholesterol by eating meat, chicken, fish, and dairy. You mean if I stop eating that, my cholesterol is going to go down? If you thinking can now be cleansed, I won't have to tell you get rid of the dairy milk. You will say, I got to get rid of the dairy milk because the dairy milk is full of cholesterol. I better not eat that egg because it's nothing but saturated fat and cholesterol. But until we can get our thinking, so start to clean out your thinking, and then I will help you make better decisions around the foods you should get. But you have to do some work too. I need you to look at this documentary, read this book. I need you to follow this doctor. I need you to read this study. And I need you to do these things every day. Just as you would a 5-day juice fast, let's do a 5-day thinking fast where we're going to start to think health, good food, good, and come back. And I want to hear you tell me, oh, Josh, I think I need to stop. You're going to tell me because now you're starting to see a little clearer. So it starts with your thinking first.
You make a really great point, because we do talk a lot about like food addiction
Yes.
within our program, because I think a lot of people are on autopilot and they're addicted to these foods. But then there's also this generational thing of, well, this is how I grew up, this is how we ate, you know, and so there's this attachment, this nostalgic attachment to food that you know, that are making you sick, that are making you come down with the same disease that your mom had, your grandmother had, or your dad had, and your grandfather had. And it's not doing anything to serve you and make your life better. Although you're under this illusion that it is, because it's, you know, it's what you grew up eating. And so that mental piece is so important to get over, because it's that first step to making the decision to put, you know, to put that sausage, egg, and cheese breakfast biscuit down and pick up a green smoothie and drink that instead.
Yes.
Right.
And I think what's also challenging about all that, and we talk about food addiction a lot, is, you know, you're not, you know, it's not like you go to work or you go to school and there's like a platter of crack cocaine sitting out on the counter. Instead, you know, it's a tray of donuts and cookies and things that, you know, we bring in because we're celebrating or we want to do something nice for someone, when really all we're doing is passing our addictions on to whoever will be open to receiving them.
Yes.
And so we have to change, and you're spot on about changing your mindset. That's the only way you can then take that action. If you do that, and then you start to feel the benefits like you did with the juice thing that you did, then you could be like, oh wait, there's something to it. I'm losing weight, I have more energy, my cholesterol's going down, my blood pressure's going down, I'm no longer pre-diabetes, you know. And so you know, then that creates the momentum to keep going.
Right, exactly. But I also want to throw in there, but I think it's also, I think we as just human beings, we can be impatient. We live in a microwave society where we want results yesterday, whereas, you know, if we want it now, we just click a button and it's here in 2 days. And unfortunately, especially as a person who is overweight, that's not the way it works, you know, and you can easily be discouraged when you think you're eating right for a couple of days and you don't see any results. I think we have problems with patience, and over the years, I've come to understand that I still struggle with patience sometimes. So I try to do exercises. I want to share a couple things that I do to try to strengthen what I like to call my patience muscle, because I think patience is something that's weak in a lot of us, and we have a hard time. So if you go through your daily exercise, such as, like, I'll make a suggestion, like I do, I purposely do things to test my patience, to strengthen that patience muscle. So for instance, I'll go to a store that is extremely busy, buy maybe just the smallest item and stand in the longest line, you know, and just test my patience. People will come in, see long lines, and leave. I'm going to test that patience, and I'm going to do it over and over. So when I'm swimming and I'm not getting it, or when I'm running and I'm like, oh, when is it going to be over? I realize I have the patience to wait for the result that I want. So if we do find little exercises that we can challenge ourselves every day, it will help us in the long run when we're trying to set these goals, and we can apply that discipline to whatever goal. So if it's patience, be patient, you'll get there. A long run, you'll get there. You know, think about the reward and build up that patience. So when you have to call on that muscle, it'll be strong enough to help you through.
I love that. So takeaway homework for everybody watching is, next time you go to the grocery store, just get one item and stand in the longest line, and just exercise that patience muscle, y'all.
Stand in the longest line. When you're going to the gym or when you're going anywhere, park in the spot furthest away from your destination. Be intentional about exercise. Try to get it each and every time, not just taking the escalator besides the elevator, but taking the longest walk instead of the shortest. You know, do these things. Going to the gym, be intentional. Let your exercise start as soon as you park your car. Let's be intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we've got a few comments. I'm just going to read a few here while we're here. We've got Marie. Hey, Marie. We've got Charles. Charles says he's taking some more notes and he's ready for this. Nice, Charles.
Good.
Some folks got some yummies. Love the variations of our dish. So inspiring. Can't wait to try this recipe. Got someone saying they need to weight train. Josh. Hey, Josh, our videographer. He's our
okay.
Josh
in Atlanta.
Hey, Josh.
What's up, Joshua? And then we've got Roberlyn. Yes, Roberlyn, this is being recorded. You can watch the replay. She's coming on a little bit late. So
no problem.
Have any questions, anything else, just shoot them in the comments. We're going to talk for a couple more minutes.
Okay.
But Joshua, I do want to say that this recipe, so I told you I made it the other day.
Yes.
And just to kind of, mostly just so I can get a photo to put with the poster, but also because I was really curious about it. But I had this with a wrap. I used an Ezekiel wrap. Like a whole grain tortilla, the flat whole grain tortilla wrap. And that was phenomenal. I had it on top of a salad. And then tonight I did have like a little bit of leftover nori when I first made it. And that's what inspired me to make the sushi roll tonight. And I have to say, this really is a versatile recipe. Like you can do a lot with it. And I wouldn't be surprised. I'm wondering also about tacos. Like I'm wondering if we could do like a little taco thing with it, because the texture of it seems like it would hold well in like a taco, like a corn tortilla or something.
Yes.
So tell us more about Flat Belly Veg. Like I know you said that you created that, to get closer to the people. Like tell us more about like how that works, like where you operate and where people can find.
Okay, so
and you have a brick and mortar too. I want to hear about that.
Yes. So we're here in April 16th is when it started. So Flat Belly Veg is basically, I like to call it, it's a food truck, but for me, it's more of an educational vehicle because we don't do any fried foods. There's no oil. There's no French fries. There's no onion rings. There's none of that junk. It's not junk food. This is healthy food. Now we do use some cheese. I would want to take that off the menu as well, but understand everyone is on a journey and they're in different places within their journey. But the only thing I won't give in is any fried food or using any oil for anything. We're not going to do that. But what's so great is that people ask, why no oil? They open the door for me to explain, to talk about it, to talk about the calorie density just found in your oil. So it's been just a wonderful journey. And along with the food truck, it's not just a food truck. So we also sponsor 5K races, weekly 1 mile walks, all sponsored by the food truck. And then we give everyone nutritionally dense smoothies after that walk, explain why we're using certain things within the smoothie. So this is not just a food truck slinging food. We're out there giving nutritional information, adding food and fitness, telling that this is a 360 approach to a vegan lifestyle. So the food truck serves as more than just like a place to grab something to eat. I want it to be a community center for health and fitness.
And do you stay kind of in the same area of Philadelphia, or do you kind of move around?
No, we don't move around. So we're in one place. It's right outside of Philly. It's called Elkins Park. We're there every weekend. The reason I wanted to do that, because I want to build community. I don't want to just be here, there. I want to build community. I want to get to know the people. I want to be able to help them. I want to do, we do cooking demonstrations out of the food truck. We share the recipes. That's why I don't just move around everywhere. We're in one place. We're giving demonstrations. We're doing these weekly walks. We do a Zoom. We also do a Zoom where people can come on and I can answer questions. We create this community where people are encouraging one another, sharing recipes, doing cooking demonstrations like this, whatever it takes to motivate people to the next level of their healthy journey. So I'm trying to do something different with this food truck. I don't want to be just a food truck. The food truck is a disguise for basically an educational vehicle.
I love it.
It's a disguise.
So the brick and mortar, is that open every day? I love that
No,
disguise though.
3 days a week.
How many?
That's 3 days a week. We're located within this farmer's market. We're open 3 days a week. And that's where we really get to create these touch points with people, because we have people coming in every day not every day. We have people coming in for lunch. They come in for the walks. They're talking. I'm talking health. It's so interesting because I just don't give a sandwich. We give a sandwich and then we talk about the nutritional value in that sandwich. Oh, well, why are you using red cabbage instead of on my tacos, red cabbage instead of iceberg lettuce, which would be cheaper for me, but it's not going to be as nutritional. That's why we're using red. That's why we're using that. Why are you putting chia seeds in the smoothie? Because you need that. You need that fiber. You need that protein that chia seed is naturally giving you. That's why I'm giving you chia seeds.
Yeah. It's funny. I had a nickname for iceberg lettuce. I call it crunchy water.
Well, you know what? I like that.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah. Because so many more nutrient dense alternatives than that. So,
right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yep. So that's what
Last
that's
question. You want to check the Facebook if anybody has any questions?
No questions, just a few random comments, but.
And what's so awesome about Joshua, and I think all of us are a testament, is that it's never too late to get healthy. Like you said, you're no spring chicken, but you're 54 now, Joshua?
I'm 54. I ran my first triathlon at 53.
53. And so this, I think, is the big deal, because what it's doing is not just giving you quality of life. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times when we hit 50, we hit 55, 60, and we're ridden with diabetes or we're overweight, it sucks the quality of our lives out. And you're thinking, well, I'm actually going like this as I get older. But the truth of the matter is, what we're seeing as a testament to your life and our lives is that you could actually go this way.
Yes.
You know, you're doing more than you've done in your younger days, you know? Absolutely. And so it's just amazing to hear. It's amazing to see. And it's just a testament, guys, for, you know, if you're thinking about your own self and you're like, you know what, I'm 45, I'm 50, it's too late. Can I really revolutionize my life? Yes, you can. And Joshua is a testament of this. We're all a testament of this. And it's just the power of putting foods into your body that is nutrient dense and that is actually healing your body, elevating your body rather than killing it. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
It is just that simple. Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. Awesome. Well, I think our time is up. Joshua, thank you so much. Hey, do I have your permission to add this to our recipe website, and then I will get the whole proppers?
Oh, absolutely. Add whatever you want, whatever recipe. If you look at my menu, you see something you want, that's fine. There is no secrets. I want everyone to know have this information.
Awesome. Awesome. So for those who subscribe to Daniel's Plate Recipe website, you will be getting this in your inbox as soon as I can get it written up and all that good stuff. But Joshua, thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure. Getting to meet you and to cook with you and to hear your story. I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed. I'm sure we'll be, interacting more in the future. Who knows? I definitely am going to be buying your book when it comes out. So
I'll come back on when the book is out. Do another demo.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah,
that's absolutely. We'll make that happen. So.
And if we're ever in Philly, which we might be, we'll get right to that truck. We'll be able to come by that truck.
I hope so.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right.
Have a wonderful evening.
Okay. Bye, y'all.